I was simply scared to be seen talking about my fear of being seen. Hi there, I'm Anne-Katrin, and I'm occasionally awake. I'm here to help you inspire your awakenings, heal yourself, and reawaken your life. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. I recently posted this raw video about my fear of being seen. Speaking and filming my truth had felt so freeing. Editing had been just fine, but when it was time to upload, I lost it and almost backed out. The especially bad lighting that I only noticed once I edited the video alone had been a great explanation to not post the video, to say, no, this is not good enough. Do it again, not do it at all, not bother at all, just don't upload. That would have been a fair option. But right when I wanted to proudly upload anyway, I noticed it. There was a spot under my nose that I hadn't seen before, that I hadn't noticed while getting ready for the video, that I hadn't noticed while filming, that I hadn't noticed while editing. I was only noticing it now. This big red spot right under my nose. Suddenly, all I could see was that spot, that flaw, this utter accumulation of imperfections that this video was. And I felt discouraged. I felt ashamed. But I didn't let myself get away with that, because here's what I knew. It wasn't about the lighting, it wasn't about the spot, it wasn't about any of the imperfections. I was finding logical reasons to back out of making myself vulnerable, of sharing my truth authentically. I was simply scared to be seen talking about my fear of being seen. Like, seems legit. Here's what I did. I noticed, I took some deep breaths, I sat with my fear of being seen, and then I posted the video anyway. And I decided to tell you about it. I'm so glad you're here right now. So if you enjoy this, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications to become occasionally awake with me. There are 3 things. That's 4. That is 4. We do that again. There are 3 things I learned from posting the other video anyway that I want to share with you today. Because these insights are not just about me. They are about all of us. So stay tuned to learn why the collective lives inside of you, why it's probably not about the spots, aka problems you're focused on, and how meeting yourself where you are is the key to unlock your flow. Let's start with insight number 1. The collective lives inside of you. After 15 years of personal and spiritual growth, I know my whys. I know why I'm creating content, and I know why creating this content is a stretch to my system. As a result, I get to say, of course I'm scared of being seen because of my story. But here comes the thing. I've heard countless creators from various niches and areas talk about their fears of being seen, their struggles to put themselves out there. Hundreds, I don't know, maybe even thousands of people sharing the same fear, but obviously not the same story. Different stories containing different belief systems that somehow all result in the same or similar fear of being seen. This tells me 2 different things. First thing, I've talked about this before, that your state tells your story. The mind tries to contextualize any emotional state that arises. Oh, I feel like this because we make up anticipatory stories that reflect past experiences. Second thing this shows is that the contextual experience of the fear of being seen, as merely the example that I use in this video, because obviously this can be extended to other contexts and other emotions, is not only entirely subjective, it is also woven into a collective experience. Individuals expressing patterns that run like threads through cultures, societies, institutions, ancestral lines, family systems. Patterns imprinted in epigenetics, in rules and traditions, in group dynamics. So many countless different people living their individual experience of the same collective core, like hundreds of branches stemming from the same tree. And yet so much specifically of our fear and shame can feel so isolating, so deprecating when we compare ourselves to others. I guess that's one of the main reasons why so many people rejoice in watching other people being themselves, authentically, quirky, freak flag flying high. And that's also why talking about it is like medicine to us as well as to the collective. It's like offering your individually colored tessera to the mosaic, saying, here, this is my take on our shared experience. And the word right there, our experience, that is what happens. Learning to contain parts of your shadow rather than avoiding it shines your light beyond yourself. It invites others to do the same. At least that's my experience. I totally believe in the power of this kind of medicine. And please feel free to let me know in the comments about your experience and about your take on this. It got so dark. It got incredibly dark because a thunderstorm is about to hit. Consider this part of the perfect imperfections I'm talking about. Let's continue with insight number 2. The spot deflects from the blind spot. My hesitation to post that other video was obviously not about the spot. However, from inside my hesitation, I didn't know that. And that's the tricky thing. This is so very common, and this goes for every single one of us. That's why I'm sharing this with you, okay? To generalize it so that you can transfer the idea, the principle, to your own life, to your own spots and blind spots. Spots in the sense of problems, challenges, struggles, blocks. And our focus on a spot always deflects from the blind spot on the other side, without us noticing. Until we do. The spot says, hey, look at me. It's responsible to put your attention on me, to act according to what serves me, to manage me. Meanwhile, we are in a dysregulated, stressed state that we cannot even fully feel because our attention is on the spot. And we know that once we manage the spot appropriately, we're gonna feel so much better. All we gotta do is deal with the spot, with a problem, with a challenge, with a block, whatever it is. Cause and effect, easy principle. Tragic thing is, we got it backwards. Back to my personal example. Managing the spot in a way that regulated my state that appeared to be the result of the literal spot would have been to simply not post a video. It could have been so easy. And yes, would that have been a relief to my dysregulated system in that moment? The perfect solution. However, that is not regulation. That is bypassing the roadblock by miles. Using the metaphor from my other video on core wounds, that would have been like plunging the safe without noticing what's inside. Paradoxically, the blind spot is always in plain sight. It's just that usually we can't see it. The blind spot always hides behind the dysregulating emotions, behind the narratives that appear to be a result of the spot we're focusing on. My blind spot was the very fear of being seen that I talked about in the video. And as I was about to upload, the fear got triggered and my conscious mind focused on the spot instead. What I did instead was turn my back on the spot and look right at the blind spot. Acknowledge it. Hold it, contain it, speak to it, embody it. Let it be there with all its uncomfortable force of feeling. The rain's coming. I hope you don't hear the rain. This is the microphone test I didn't ask for today. Oh no, it's getting loud. Progress, not perfection. So I identified and acknowledged the fear, the doubt, the shame. I gave them all a container and I posted anyway. So my personal example might be totally mundane to you. That's fine, that's actually totally irrelevant because this is about the mechanism. I'm trying to exemplify the mechanism. That is so important because we all do it all of the time without noticing because we don't know what we don't know, and they're called blind spots for a reason. And I'm not even getting into manifestation in this video, which is a whole other can of worms, because if you assume the manifestation principle that you are the creator of your reality, it is insane to see how we imprison ourselves, our own nature, our essence, our expression, our truth, without noticing it. Because we are noticing the spots, the problems, the struggle on the outside. We are noticing the 3D around us, or the body we have, all of which give us reason. And now I want to rant about how that reason is an effect instead of the cause. But like, I can't even. Then I'm gonna sit here like the entire day. So I'm gonna stop right here talking about manifestation. But I guess I just have to do another video about this because this is just so good. So if you opened yourself up to the idea that maybe, potentially, the spots you're focused on that limit your free and abundant expression are the result of internal unconscious blind spots, then which amazing possibilities for integration and transformation could open up for you? Are you willing and courageous enough to give yourself that chance? And if you want help with being willing and courageous, then please know that this is exactly the kind of work that we do together in my one-on-one coaching container, Awakening Integration. So if you're ready to take a look beyond the spots onto the blind spots secretly limiting your potential and want to start creating from a more regulated and integrated state of self, then please click the link in the description box below and check out my current offers to your growth and awakening journey. And finally, here's insight number 3. Your flow is unlocked as you take yourself along for the ride. It was as I filmed that other video, in the assumption that I definitely wanted to post it, that something inside of me shifted. For the first time, I made the decision that I was going to post consistently. Now, I correct myself. I did not make the conscious decision because it did not take a conscious decision. I showed up authentically, talking about how my body felt while filming, and the decision was made. The decision made itself. And since that day, content ideas and downloads have been pouring in like crazy. Product ideas are finally pouring in, and I have content ready to go for over a month because I simply keep creating. Because it's so much fun and it also just happens by itself. And I guess once I make more content on manifestation, I'll come back to this example, because manifestation is a lot about making the decision to have something be a certain way. And then people often ask, but like, how do you make the decision? This is how you make the decision. I made the decision and here I am. And just as I'm saying this, the sun is coming back out just after this heavy rain. Oh, and that makes me kind of emotional. Filming that other video unlocked a flow that I had been waiting on for years. And I am realizing the universal principle contained in that very subjective experience of mine. I am not performing magic by the downloads, by the flow I have entered. I'm simply tapping into universal law. Finally, here's how this works. Whenever you're stuck for a reason. For a good reason, for a self-preserving, self-protective, self-sustaining reason. For example, because you are scared of the implications of what a part of you wants to be doing. Just as in my case, the fear of being seen as I put out content, which I want to be doing. And you are unconsciously disregarding the good reason, disembodying the part of you that is self-protective. You are abandoning that part of you in the same way you felt abandoned by others when it was formed. And all you gotta do is reunite with that part and include it in your conscious experience. I can't even believe how basic this is. I'm actually noticing that I'm saying the same thing over and over again in different videos with different words, different metaphors, different analogies for you to grab the basic principle. Because this is so important. And most people still do not live, act, and self-regulate according to these principles. That's why I'm sharing them here with you. You know what? Let's use another metaphor to explain this dynamic. So as soon as you stop standing in your own way, as soon as we could simply say, sync up with the totality of your experience, you are unlocking the flow. All you gotta do is stop wanting yourself to feel and think differently. This is all the work you ever gotta be doing on your growth, awakening, healing journey, whatever your terminology is, to just grow, to evolve, to remember more of your nature, of your essence, and express more of your truth. Take the entirety of you along for the ride and the flow can unfold. We are so used to showing up with half our experience because we leave the other half in the basement, because that half doesn't fit into the workspace, the family system, maybe even the relationship, the social groups, the conventions, the rules and traditions. That other half is carrying your truth. And I wish more people understood how embracing that truth, how embracing that other half is exactly what unleashes your wholeness. All you gotta do is stop disembodying the parts that keep arguing against your expansion out of fear. All you gotta do is give those parts a hug, take their hand to take those next steps, to take that leap, to let yourself be carried by the current of your truth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. This video is related to the awakenings to the ego self, the conscious self, and the matrix. So if you want more insights on the 4 different types of awakenings and how to experience them in your life occasionally, then visit me at occasionallyawake.com to inspire your awakenings. Bye.